And we are back at it. It is Tuesday. It's November, the first day of November. Say goodbye to October. We are 1 week from Election Day. It's as late as it can be. It can't be any later than November 8th, and that's the case. So you got another week to vote if you haven't done so yet. I am Dan Kuntz's Wake Up in Angie Valley. It is considerably cooler right now than it was 24 hours ago. We were at 52 degrees. We're at 45 now. That's because we have some clear skies, and man, do we have some wild weather coming our way. We could get some snowflakes here in the Wenatchee Valley this weekend. There's a significant storm system heading our way. It's going to be fairly quiet for the next couple of days. Nothing really out there, but boy, this weekend is looking pretty crazy, and some significant snow in the major mountain passes. We're going to get rained on big time Friday night. We're going to be over on the east side of the river to cover some playoff football between the Wildcats and the Richland Bombers. In fact, we have a high school sports action tonight. The Eastmont Wildcats, Davis Pirates in a play-in a winner moves on, loser is done for the year soccer match tonight. We'll have that for you live on our Facebook page at 6 o'clock, live on television here at 7 o'clock. A little programming reminder there. Because it's 1 week to Election Day, we're going to do a couple of the interviews that we've already aired quite some time ago, a few weeks ago. Today will be part 2 of my interview with Dr. Becky Berg, the superintendent of the Eastmont School District. There's a $185 million bond on the ballot for you folks who live within the footprint of the Eastmont School District. They want to make some significant improvements and upgrades, safety-wise, security-wise, and just plain campus-wise for a lot of the schools. And we went to Cascade Elementary School in East Wenatchee with Dr. Berg a couple of weeks ago, and you'll see that in the back half of the program. Plus, we'll have sports and everything else you need to get your day going. And at 2 minutes after the hour, let's not waste any more time. Let's do it. Let's fire it up. What do we have out there? We have the Wenatchee Valley, of course, from the cross camera, the sort of cross camera. Cross East is what we call it. We still don't have the main cross camera up and running yet. Long story, you don't care about it. But in any event, it's still a pretty darn nice view. We're still a ways away, of course, from sunrise, not till 7:45 this morning. We're under the 10-hour mark of daylight now. It's 9 hours and 58 minutes of daylight. And don't forget, daylight saving time comes to an end on Sunday. We go back to standard time. We get that hour that we lost back in the spring. We get it back on Sunday. Enjoy. From this point forward, the good captain is deciding where we're going and why we're going there. Well, he does not saying why. That's too esoteric for us. Stockton, California. Yeah. Yes, that's Stockton. That's a beautiful view. What are we looking at, Captain? And by the way, your microphone isn't turned on. I don't know what we're looking at. It's dark. I see a couple of lights. I'm going to stay with Stockton. I'm going to say it's Stockton, California, because the sun's not up there either, although I don't know what it is. A rousing start to this show. Camera number 3. That's Black Mountain. Wow, that's Navarre Coulee. That I recognize. And that looks to be a little bit of light rain. That's not snow. That's rain that we're looking at there up Black Mountain Way. Not bad at all. Not Black Mountain. I'm sorry. That's the Navarre Coulee Highway between basically the Knaps Hill Tunnel and Chelan. You see that car there. If it keeps going all the way to the end of that road, they'll be at the Lake Chelan State Park. But we're letting in a little bit of light there. Again, the camera's changed to black and white to let in as much light as possible if there's not enough out there to make it color. And camera number 4. Camera number 4. Okay. Boy, I want to say maybe Billy Goat. I'm not really sure what we're looking at there. I want to say Billy Goat because you see a little bit of lights in the lower left-hand corner, which tells me that might be Pateris. Again, it's dark. It's hard to see. I don't know what we're looking at. Oh, baby. We're doing good this morning, aren't we? Time to go home now. Let's move forward with the weather. And, baby, going to be cold. Now, overnight low tonight, it's going to be pretty chilly. Going to be mid-30s tonight. We haven't been that cold in a long time. But Wednesday night into Thursday, our overnight lows will be in the 20s, about 25 or so tomorrow night into early Thursday. And that means it's going to be below freezing. And we're going to be right around the freezing mark Thursday night into Friday as well. And Friday night into Saturday, we have the possibility of getting at least to the freezing mark, definitely below freezing by a number of degrees early Thursday morning. By sunrise Thursday morning, we will be in the 20s. Snow level is going to go down. There's going to be snow in the mountain passes Friday night, Saturday night, and even into Sunday. They can get up to a foot of snow in the mountain passes this weekend because there is a significant storm system heading into our area late this week into the early part of next week. So cold temperatures, a cold, hard rain, maybe some wind is all associated with this system. So anyway, we are in for some very active weather, and it is going to get cold real quick. From the National Weather Service, your forecast looks something like this. Cloudy today, should be dry. Whatever rain we're supposed to have probably is already come and gone at this point. We'll get up to about 51. Yesterday's high, by point of reference, was 61. So we're going to be a lot cooler, about 10 degrees cooler for our afternoon high than we saw yesterday. Partly cloudy tonight, 35 for the overnight low. We'll be lucky to get to 49, 48, 49 on Wednesday. Our normal afternoon high for this time of the year is 52 degrees, and that's the big story early Thursday morning, overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Look at that, 25 for the overnight low. That's what you call a hard freeze. We'll be near the freezing mark on Thursday night into Friday as well. Friday afternoon, here comes the rain. Going to start coming down at a pretty good clip by about 2 or 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Going to rain Friday, going to rain Friday night. Friday night, the snow level is going to go all the way down to 3,200 feet. So the major mountain passes are going to get quite a bit of snow on Friday night. And the snow level on Saturday is going to be at 1,900 feet. But whatever snow we get, and I don't think we're going to get any, is going to be gone because by Saturday afternoon, we'll be up into the upper 40s. And look how chilly it's going to be on Sunday and Monday. We're talking well below normal for not only the afternoon highs, but the overnight lows could be down into the teens by the time we get overnight into the weekend. A cold, rainy, snowy forecast on the way for our viewing area starting on Friday. Next 3 days, today, tomorrow, Thursday, not a lot out there except for that cold overnight low early Thursday morning, and then things get really cattywampus starting on Friday. You were warned. 8 minutes after the hour, 1 minute break, and your headlines. You're watching Wake Up in Nancy Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Dr. Kim Schreier, and I approve this message.
This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says the massacre at Sandy Hook was staged. She claims there's no evidence terrorists hit the Pentagon on 9/11. She's even called for members of Congress to be executed. And this is Matt Larkin. He says he, quote, aligns with Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's why Matt Larkin is dangerous, because the last thing we need is another Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress.
Fall has arrived, and Collins Fashions is your headquarters for cozy warm sweaters and jackets. Holiday attire so sparkling and glamorous from Joseph Ribkoff and Frank Lyman. We have soft sweaters from Karen Kane, Tribal, Charlie B, and Ken Ross Cashmere. New jeans and all washes and styles just for you from Jag, Cut, Liverpool. New fall Brighton handbags and styles and colors in sable and chili pepper. And ladies, it's time to fill out your wish list at Collins Fashions, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
It is fairly clear, 45 rather cool degrees outside of our studios. Will be quite a bit cooler today. We're only going to get about 51 today after a 61-degree high on Monday. Pretty quiet, benign weather for the next few days. Friday afternoon, here comes a significant storm system, and we are in for some serious rain, snow in the upper elevations on Friday into Saturday, and then really cold by this time next week, at least relative to the time of the year. 9 minutes after the hour. And here is your news. A woman in her 70s was killed in a fire. This happened Sunday morning at her Moses Lake residence in the Harvest Manor mobile home park. The Grant County Sheriff's Office said another woman was able to get away from the fire. She's in the care of her family. Grant County Fire District 5 responded to the fire in the 4800 block of Airway Drive Northeast. This happened about 8 a.m. Sunday morning. They found the manufactured home fully engulfed in flames. The sheriff's office said firefighters tried to save the woman, but the fire had simply progressed too far. The Grant County Fire Marshal's office is investigating the cause of that fire. Speaking of Moses Lake, a 20-year-old Moses Lake man killed and a 17-year-old male injured a shooting early Sunday morning at a Moses Lake trailer park. Moses Lake police said they responded to a home in the 3000 block of Road H Northeast just before 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. They found an unidentified man who had been shot several times. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The teen, who had also been shot, had already been taken to Samaritan Hospital in a private vehicle. He was treated. He was released. Police are releasing very few details on the shooting, and they haven't even said if they've identified or arrested any suspects. We'll keep a close eye on that. Staying out in the basin, a report of a family fight Sunday afternoon at a Quincy area home resulted in the arrest of a Quincy man who was captured and injured by that dog, Canine Ito, of the Grant County Sheriff's Office. 21-year-old Caden Stevens faces charges for violating a protective order in addition to being wanted on several outstanding warrants. The Sheriff's Office said deputies responded to a home in the 7800 block of Road R Northwest at about 2:20 on Sunday afternoon, but Stevens had already fled. Ito and his handler, Deputy Tyson, found Stevens hiding in a pump house behind the home, and when he failed to surrender, Ito went in. He was treated for his wounds from the encounter, and then Stevens was lodged into the Grant County Jail on charges of violating a protective order and prior warrants for third-degree malicious assault, fourth-degree assault, domestic violence, felony harassment, and taking a motor vehicle without the owner's permission. The city of Wenatchee has temporarily changed its zoning laws to allow sheltered parking for homeless persons and their vehicles. The city cites the first safe park location, that's in South Wenatchee. It's operated by the Wenatchee Rescue Mission. City says it's a success. So a second location, managed by the same operator, is due to open soon on Omi Gardens Road. The decision to alter zoning for 12 months passed the city council unanimously on Thursday.
While the City of Wenatchee Code has a use category for homeless shelters, it does not address the immediate need for temporary housing, and it's not tailored to the specific siting characteristics and needs for two new categories of low-barrier shelters. And these two categories are Safe Park facility, which was talked about this evening. And then the second component is previously discussed by the council for individual low-barrier shelter units. These would be made by the Pallet Shelter Company. The city can develop a 1,000-foot no sleep, no lie provision to look at preventing nuisances around the facility. Although the facility is highly managed and monitored as far as who comes in and who comes out. There will be, if adopted tonight, a neighborhood meeting on November 15th to get input from the public, to hear their concerns, share information, and then if they have questions over time, they know who to contact.
So we did find a location near the roundabout on the way sort of by the Stemilt area. We have a lease agreement that's in process, but we have a handshake agreement with the owners. We're going to lease about half of the property for $3,000 a month, probably for, I don't think it's going to be more than 90 days. They've asked us to purchase the property. So we talked about doing a boundary line adjustment, only buying half of it. The owner said, no, we'd like you to buy all of it. And then would you lease back the half that they want to keep for 18 to 24 months while they figure out what to do long-term with the trucking company.
And there is a contested race in the Douglas County PUD Commissioner's race. The mayor of Rock Island, Randy Agnew, is challenging the incumbent, and that's Aaron V. Brock. Grant Olson spoke with both candidates about the challenges that the Douglas County PUD faces in serving high-load customers like data centers. By the way, we're going to have excerpts from these interviews later on this week on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
What prompted you to run for the PUD commission post?
Well, one of the things I've found is you do have a voice when you're on a council or on a board, and sometimes one voice of reason can make a difference. And the PUD a couple of years ago set new rate schedules for high load users, and also policies that they would not provide any of their locally produced power to a high load user. And I'm all for high-tech businesses coming here, being a computer programmer, that kind of makes sense. good jobs, good wages, and a lot of tax revenue. So that is what prompted me to run. Quincy versus Wenatchee, or East Wenatchee. If anybody has gone up to Quincy lately, they've seen the tremendous economic boom they're having. And Quincy, their general fund, they have 3 times the budget as East Wenatchee, and they only have a little over half the number of people. And that's all due to the data centers up there.
So you think that the Douglas County PUD is really missing the boat on this?
I do.
Yeah.
I honestly do.
I actually do enjoy fighting for the residential and small business owners in Olympia and Washington, D.C. And as far as you know, the challenges that we have with legislature and large loads coming online, the PUD is serving these large loads. In fact, we have so many requests for what we call Schedule 4 power. So anything over 2 megawatts now does not get power from Wells Dam. They get off the outside market, and Douglas PUD serves those by delivering. It's a power delivery rate, and so we have not said no to anybody. And like I said, we have so much demand that the problem now is that the transmission lines are getting filled up, and it's really hard to build new transmission lines. In fact, the PUD has been working on a line with Schlein PUD, Grant PUD in Bonneville, just to go from Palisades to Rock Island. And after 12 years, we're just starting to build that.
Wow.
So there's a lot of infrastructure needs if we're going to keep supporting these large load customers.
And now you know what's happening on this Tuesday morning, 1 week before General Election Day. We'll have the news for you tonight, as we always do, at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock tonight, and at 7 o'clock on a 1-hour tape delay basis, the Eastmont-Davis soccer match from Wildcat Stadium. But we'll have it for you live on Facebook, on our Facebook page at 6 o'clock tonight. With a preview of tonight's news, here's Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, mostly cloudy and cooler weather today and tomorrow before a big storm moves in late Thursday. I'll have all those details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom will have more on our playoff soccer broadcast tonight on the NCW Life channel between Eastmont and Davis, as well as the latest on the Kraken and the Wild. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. I will be at Eastmont Stadium tonight. Looking forward to that soccer match. And if you have a news tip or you just want to say hello or whatever the case may be, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. Look at the bottom of your screen. That's how you go about doing it. If you look at the top of your screen, you'll see the snow-capped mountains of the Cascades. Our website is ncwlife.com. Our Facebook page, use the Messenger app, or you can email us directly. We'll get it here, news at ncwlife.com. When we come back, a milestone victory for Pete Carroll with their victory over the Giants on Sunday. We'll talk about that, and we'll preview high school playoff sports. It's that time of the year. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Businesses and individuals have trusted the experienced professionals of financial alternatives for their retirement and investment needs for 40 years. They offer a broad range of investments, annuities, and insurance solutions for people and businesses throughout Washington. Financial Alternatives will assist you in making informed decisions for your future. Call Financial Alternatives today and meet with their advisors.
"20 minutes after the hour, Sunday's win over the Giants was a milestone for Pete Carroll, his 168th victory as an NFL head coach. That includes the playoffs, and that ties him with his longtime mentor and Hall of Fame coach Bud Grant. After they won on Sunday, Pete Carroll spoke with Grant briefly on the telephone, said he couldn't believe he reached that milestone. On Monday, Pete Carroll told the story about how he was hired by Bud Grant as a defensive backs coach for the Vikings after being fired by Buffalo in 1985. He said he just happened to be on the phone at Chicago's airport flying for an interview for coaching jobs on the West Coast.
I called the office and I said, can I talk to Andy? And the secretary says, well, he's not here right now. And I said, well, would you give him a message that Pete Carroll called, because he was my connection to see if because there was one secondary job going on in Minnesota at the Vikes. It was all the jobs were all closed. It was like it was in March almost by the time. So the secretary says, I said, this is Pete Carroll. Would you let him know that I called? And she said, Pete Carroll. She said, well, Coach Grant is talking to your wife on the other line. I said, what? And so next thing I heard, click, and they, hello, Pete? Yeah? And I said, this is Bud Grant. And I'm thinking, holy shit, hi, Coach, I haven't talked to him and I'd never ever heard from him ever. And so he said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm getting on a flight. I'm going to the West Coast. I get an interview at Stanford and Cal. He said, well, don't get on that flight. Well, I got to go. They're closing the doors right now. He says, Pete, I said, don't get on that flight. Get the next flight to Minneapolis. And I said, okay. And I hang up. That was it. I didn't know anything. And so I said, close the door. I can't get on the flight. And I run down through the airport, and I get hooked up, and I get a flight. And then I call Glenna and find out what's going on. She said, well, Coach Grant was just called, and he was trying to talk to you, and I think he wants to talk to you about it. I said, well, anyway, so I didn't know anything. So I called back to the office, and I finally hooked up and got some information, and they told me to, I told them the flight I'm coming on, so that was it. I didn't know anything. And so that night, I wind up in Minneapolis. Instead, I didn't even call the guys in Stanford or Cal. I didn't even talk to them. I didn't know what to do. And so the next morning, I'm interviewing with Bud Grant, and we're walking around the facility, and that was the start of all that thing. Well, later I find out that if this is all right, and later I find out that in the morning that I was supposed to hear from Lou, Sid Hartman had been with Lou, sitting in his office. Sid was you guys all know who he is. And he had told Lou that, or they had talked a little bit, and he said, yeah, I'm talking to Pete Carroll this afternoon, or whatever. And Sid tells him that, well, Bud Grant is interested in the same guy. He didn't know who I was. And so Lou said, well, if Bud's interested in him, I'm not going to have a chance to get him. So I never hear from him again, right? So that's how that happened. So somehow that connection made all that take place. And had I not called at exactly that time, I'd have been on that flight. I may have never even, I don't know what would have happened. So it was a great story. And then obviously Bud, offered me the job and felt sorry for me or whatever, and gave me a chance to get back. So that's how that happened. So.
In case you're curious, 134 of Carroll's 168 wins have come with the Seahawks. He'll go for 169 this Sunday in Arizona against the Cardinals. Seattle Kraken begin a 3-game road trip in Calgary tonight, taking on the Flames. Seattle's coming off a 3-1 win over Pittsburgh on Saturday. Coach Dave Haxtell says he's pretty pleased the way his club has been playing as they get ready to hit the road.
A little bit of a break yesterday with the day off, coming out of a real busy stretch, and now heading back into a busy week this week. But really just turn the page. There's a lot of good coming out of the Pittsburgh game. There's also a lot of things that we can take from that game and look at it and say, hey, we got to be a little bit better in these areas. So just a matter of those were important points, but now just moving forward and continuing to work to get better and concentrate on the next game tomorrow.
Kraken and Flames, they drop the puck at 6 o'clock tonight on Root Sports Northwest. They didn't play baseball last night. Rained in Philadelphia pretty much all day, but the forecast is looking pretty good. So we'll try again tonight at 5:03 on Fox. That means Game 4 will be tomorrow. Game 5 Thursday. They will travel on Friday. Game 6 will be Saturday in Houston. They're still going to keep the off day. Just everything gets bumped back an extra day. We got playoff soccer tonight here on the NCW Live channel. Eastmont hosting Davis. Big 9 district play-in game. at Wildcat Stadium. The Wildcats and the Pirates just played Saturday in Yakima. Eastmont won that one 4-0. Sebastian Moraga, Matt Wiesen. Play-by-play will be live on Facebook at 6 o'clock. Delayed broadcast on television at 7 o'clock. And the other district play-in game, the Big Nine, Moses Lake will be at Ike. That also gets going at 6 o'clock. The District 6 1A tournament shifts to Cascade High School tonight. It's the Kodiaks and the Jackrabbits. It's a loser-out game, and the winner advances to the crossover round. It's also a busy night on the volleyball courts. The playoffs are ramping up. Big Nine district play-in matches tonight. Eastmont plays at Moses Lake. That's a 6 o'clock tilt. And Davis will host Eisenhower. The District 6 2B tournament gets underway. Liberty Bell will visit Brewster at 6. Lake Roosevelt will host Tonasket, Okanagan, and Manson will wait for the winners from tonight. And Antioch is the site for the District 6 1B tournament as Waterville-Mansfield takes on Moses Lake Christian in the semifinals at 5:30. It's Antioch and Wilson Creek in the other semifinal at 7. And the Eastmont Wildcat football team getting ready to take on the Richland Bombers on World Vegan Day, which is today. They'll be playing this Friday at Wildcat Stadium. The winner will move on to the state tournament. We will have the game, by the way, live here on the NCAA Live channel. Pre-game 6:30 in the rain. We'll get going at 7 o'clock on Friday night. Richland comes into the contest 5-4. They play in the Mid-Columbia League. They played one game in Walla Walla. Outside of that, Richland has played every game this year in the Tri-Cities. Richland lost last week. Of course, Eastmont won dramatically against Moses Lake. Again, we'll have playoff football here on Friday night on the NCAA Live channel. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 27 minutes after the hour. Can you guess what the obscure holiday is? Yeah. I could have chosen, of course, today is All Saints Day. It's November 1st. It's also National Authors Day, National Calzone Day. It's National Family Literacy Day. It's National Cook for Your Pets Day. It's National Vinegar Day. It's National Deep Fried Clams Day, but no vegan. Goes back to November 1st, 1944. Don Watson was a vegan, and he didn't know too many of them, so he got together with all the vegans that he knew, and he said, let's form a new movement to get people to just eat fruits and vegetables. And 86, pretty much everything else. A lot of celebrity vegans, a lot of them. Zac Efron, Beyonce, who just became a vegan a couple of years ago. Bill Clinton, after he had his open heart surgery 10 years ago, he went all vegan. Natalie Portman, Madonna is fanatic about it. Woody Harrelson, James Cameron, and Joaquin Phoenix, who just had his birthday a couple of days ago, has been a vegan since he was 3. That's impressive. Happy World Vegan Day today. It's 28 minutes after the hour. Today in history, another friendly reminder that half of the American Revolution was us getting rid of King George and starting our own country with freedom and all that good stuff. And the other half of the American Revolution was the British simply screwing up. And here's another screw up on the British part. The Stamp Act was imposed by the British Parliament on the colonists on this date in 1765. They had just won the French and Indian Wars, the British did. So first of all, they needed to pay for it. And second of all, they said, the French are still going to maybe invade. The American colonists said, we don't care. The French isn't going to invade. We like the French. We don't like you. And why should we have to pay for your military here? The Stamp Act did not go over particularly well with the colonists. Yet another of the dominoes that began to fall to begin the American Revolution. The Stamp Act enacted on this date 257 years ago. We already paid for the war. You mean you got to pay for it again? That is a very rare photograph, the only known photograph taken on this date in 1800 when John Adams moves into the White House. It was known as the Executive Mansion at the time. It didn't become known formally as the White House for another 100 years or so. But that is the only known photograph. They're there backing the U-Haul up to the White House, moving in, John Adams. Very little of the original, there it is. Very little of the original White House remains, by the way. Of course, the British burned most of it in the back in 1814. The White House has 132 rooms, 32 bathrooms. It's 6 levels, 4 above ground and 2 below ground. It has 412 doors. The White House has 147 windows, 28 fireplaces, 7 staircases, 3 elevators, a tennis court, a jogging track, a swimming pool, a movie theater, a billiard room, and a bowling lane. The Executive Mansion, the White House. John Adams moved into it 222 years ago today. If you've ever seen the movie Seabiscuit, a small, scrawny horse who nobody thought was going to do much of anything, this was the day in just a two-horse race at Pimlico in Baltimore, Maryland. Just two horses, Seabiscuit and War Admiral, the Triple Crown winner, went off it in a match race. This was huge. 40,000 people showed up. Pimlico only held about 20,000. They had trains all over the country converge on Baltimore to watch Seabiscuit take on War Admiral. We're going to show you a highlight of the video. But before we show you that, take a look at how they actually started the race. There was no starting gates. They just kind of started to run. Here you go.
And they're off, and this is a go. And Georgie Wolf is at the whip on Seabiscuit to keep him up. And they're coming to me head and head. War Admiral on the inside. Wolf is driving Seabiscuit, and Seabiscuit is outrunning him. Seabiscuit is coming to me. 1 length, 2 lengths in the lead. And he came right over 2 lengths. He goes by me. Seabiscuit by 2 lengths. War Admiral right on his heels. Cutsinger sitting still and biding his time. And watch for them now as they turn into the stretch. Head and head. Both horses under a drive. This is a real horse race. Just what we hoped we'd get. They're head and head. And both jockeys driving. It's the best horse from here in. They've got 200 yards to come. It's horse against horse. Both of them driving. Seabiscuit leads by a length. Now Seabiscuit by a length and a half. Wolf has put away his whip. Seabiscuit by 3. Seabiscuit by 3. Seabiscuit is the winner by 4 lengths. And you never saw such a wild crowd. Seabiscuit the winner by 4 lengths.
Yeah, I like the way they started the race. They were just, the jockeys are on the horses and they just listened for a bell. And then they started running. No starting gate. Seabiscuit beats War Admiral 84 years ago today. November 1st, 1950, 72 years ago today, the White House was under renovation. And so Harry and Bess Truman moved into the Blair House directly across the street from the White House. And 2 Puerto Rican nationalists took advantage of lax security and the fact that it wasn't quite the White House, and they tried to kill Harry Truman. They failed. Here is a newsreel from this date in 1950.
Outside Blair House, the president's temporary Washington home, extreme fanatics of the Puerto Rican Nationalist Party try to force their way in, guns blazing, to assassinate the President of the United States. When the 3-minute shooting is over, assassin Griselio Torresola lies dead on the Blair House lawn, and White House policeman Leslie Kofelt is dying a few feet away. Assassin Oscar Collazo and 2 other guards are wounded as the plot is foiled. Police and Secret Service men examine the damage. A picket on the iron fence is knocked off. The steps and doorway of Blair House bear bullet holes. Only the guards' quick action prevented more casualties. At Washington's emergency hospital, the 24-hour guard watches over Collazo, who, despite a chest wound, recovers to face trial for murder. The president, who was taking his after-lunch nap upstairs in Blair House at the time of the shooting, emerged shortly afterward to attend ceremonies at Arlington. Americans of all political beliefs congratulate Mr. Truman on his escape.
He went back to work. Happened on this date, 72 years ago today. November 1st, 1955. His name was Jack Gilbert Graham. He was born in 1923 in the height of the Great Depression. In 1937, the family was barely scraping by, and Jack Graham's dad died, and his mom had no money, so she sent Jack Graham to an orphanage when he was 13 or 14 years old. And then his mom remarried to somebody who had a lot of money, and then he up and died, and all of a sudden Jack Graham's mom had a whole bunch of money. But she didn't go back to the orphanage to get him. She just left him there. She became a very wealthy woman when he was old enough to be kicked out of the orphanage. He went back to visit his mom, and they did not get along. They, in fact, hated each other. They always argued. You got all this money now, and you left me in the orphanage, Mom. They had a very terrible relationship, and finally on this date in 1955, he got even on an airplane with his mother on board. Jack Graham blew the plane up with a bomb that he had planted with a timing device. He went to the vending machine. As soon as his mom got on the airplane and the boarding, he went to the vending machines where they sell life insurance at the airports, and he bought a whole bunch of life insurance and then watched as the plane blew up. He was convicted, tried, and hanged. He blew up Flight 629 from Denver to Portland, killing everybody on board, including his mother. That's not good. And a happy birthday to Big Mac. 65 years ago today, the Mackinac Bridge, connecting the upper and lower peninsulas of Michigan, opened to traffic. This is a big bridge. At the time, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world between two anchors. This is a long bridge. It's 5 miles long. And they have a little service for you folks who don't like bridges. If you have gyrophobia, the Mackinac Bridge Authority has a service for you. You can call in advance, and they can do one of two things. The drivers will drive your car while you sit in the passenger seat because you don't like to travel over bridges, or they will drive the car and you can ride in another car to take you to the other side. About 1,000 people a year participate in the program because they don't like to go over bridges, and a 5-mile bridge can be a bit hectic if you are afraid of bridges. Happy birthday to Big Mac, opened on this date in 1957, and yeah, it's an impressive bridge. All right, let's do some birthdays, shall we? At 37 minutes after the hour, Gary Player, one of only 5 golfers to win the career Grand Slam. He won 9 Grand Slam majors altogether. Gary Player from South Africa is 87 years old today. David Foster, he went on a long hit streak from the early 80s to about the mid-2000s. It seems like every #1 song in America was produced or written by David Foster, who was 73 years old today. He was into the bombast and the orchestras and all that stuff. And the current CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, 62 years old today. Thanks for the iPhone, Tim Apple. That's good. I'd like to see you right after the show, Captain. Gonna take a break. When we come back, an opinion from my Mad Dog Minotti, and then part 2 of a conversation with Dr. Becky Berg, the superintendent of the Eastmont School District, to be so you're.
Introducing Alpine Airman. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
Why do we put so much effort into engineering the Can-Am Defender? Why do we equip it with tough Rotax engines featuring best-in-class torque? Why do we give it industry-leading towing and hauling capabilities? And why do we make it clever with versatile cargo solutions and much more? Well, why do you put so much effort at everything you do? Because a job worth doing is worth doing right. Can-Am Defender. Tough, capable, clever.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks. So bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, many times, somebody has said something to me, usually something critical, and I get defensive. I'm sure I'm the only one. Now, what I've tried to learn to do when this happens is to stop and think. Why am I getting defensive? Is there some truth in what I'm hearing? Now, often this is the case, I got to admit. I get defensive because something about what I'm being told is accurate. And, you know, I think I should do this more often, reflect when I get defensive, when I'm criticized and react that way. Maybe instead of defending myself, I should stop and think, you know, is there a chance for correction here and doing myself some self-improvement? Well, maybe there is. This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and that's my opinion.
Working with August Edge Real Estate, both sellers and buyers feel confident knowing they are in the hands of award-winning professionals. August Edge offers a 2% listing commission, which includes above-standard service and technology.
We offer high-tech 3D imagery, drone photos, local North Central Washington TV ads, and impressive smart flyer installed at your listing. The August Edge website also hosts your home with an interactive featured listing page.
August Edge is professional, personable, and preferable.
It's the NCW Life Community Calendar, a presentation of Merry Maids. The 2022 general election is on Tuesday, November 8th. All ballots that are mailed must be postmarked by 8 p.m. on that day to qualify, or you can use the drop boxes. In Chelan County, boxes are located in Wenatchee, Cashmere, Chelan, Aniat, Leavenworth, and Manson. In Douglas County, drop boxes are located in East Wenatchee, Waterville, Cooley Dam, Rock Island, Bridgeport, and Mansfield.
I believe we've been coming to Abby's for 56 years, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah.
56 years.
Remembering all the events as a family and a community that we spent at Abby's.
Excellent and delicious food at an affordable price. We're delighted that we live close enough to be able to be a frequent customer.
And we are.
And we are. In fact, we've got orders to bring home a giant pizza when we leave here tonight.
This could be the view out of your office window.
North Central Washington is probably one of the most beautiful places to live, and you get to experience it all as a transit operator.
Link Transit coach operators enjoy full family benefits, paid CDL training, a state-of-the-art fleet, and the satisfaction of being part of a progressive, community-minded team.
We have a lot of fun with each other. I mean, it's a good group of people. We're all kind of like a family.
If you like this view, Link has a seat for you. The next operator training starts soon. Apply today at linktransit.com.
Election season is heating up, and the NCW Life channel is putting local candidates in the hot seat. Join us starting at 8 a.m. Sunday as we interview the contenders for Chelan County Sheriff and the Chelan County Board of Commissioners. Tune in for these in-depth conversations so you can vote with confidence. That's 8 a.m. Sunday and again throughout the week on the NCW Life channel.
Welcome back to the program. We are here at Cascade Elementary School, which back when it was built in 1967 was out in the middle of nowhere here in East Wenatchee. East Wenatchee has grown and has caught up to Cascade Elementary School. Again, we're here with Dr. Becky Berg, the superintendent of the Eastmont School District, to inform you, voters in the Eastmont School District, what would happen to various schools and properties if this $185 million bond passes on November 8th. Don't forget, it's a bond. That means a 60% supermajority and also a minimum turnout. You don't have to worry about that. You're going to hit the turnout numbers without any problems at all, Becky. Cascade, built in 1967. We talked about this when we talked about Lee Elementary School, which has a little over 30 outside doors that go directly into classrooms. Lee's got nothing on Cascade. Cascade's got 60 doors that go directly into the classrooms or into the building. That's 59 too many nowadays.
It's 59 too many. And if you can think of 1967, the last thing on our mind was school violence and having to harden our schools. It was more invitational and please come. That's still in our hearts, but our schools need a single point of entry. We need to see who's coming and going, and we need to minimize exterior doors that may or may not be shut after recess, may or may not be shut in between classes. This bond will significantly help with that.
This school was built in '67. It was modernized in 1994, but it wasn't really a lot. All they did, a few years ago was they had a couple of classrooms, and they actually put a kitchen in and a cafeteria, because they had neither one of those. Again, it's kind of hard to believe that there was a time when there wasn't a kitchen here, that the food had to be made elsewhere and brought in.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. But now it's and school nutrition's terribly important.
Very much so.
We need to mention that. The idea that they can
so.
cook the food here. This is not like the school lunches I ate in the 1970s.
Lots of fresh fruit, lots of fresh vegetables, kind of an all-you-can-eat vegetable and fruit methodology, as well as really sound nutrition.
We talked about this at Lee, the playground issues at Lee. It's even more acute here. This is a beautiful campus, but the playground is terribly out of date. It's not attractive for the kids.
Attractive for the kids. We're keeping up with fun parks and all of that. But on top of that, it's really our inclusivity. We have 5 particular children here who are in wheelchairs, and the pavement is uneven. The bark in the playground is inaccessible. We have a brand new, beautiful, inclusive playground at Clovis Point, and I encourage you to go see it. It's where every child can look out and say, it's recess time and I belong. So that's what we want for all of our schools. Yeah, being ADA compliant doesn't mean, oh, we're just going to put in a couple of curves in a wheelchair and get through and call it good. It doesn't work that way. Correct. Yeah, it doesn't work that way at all. Same deal with Lee. Your air conditioning, your HVAC system, it's falling apart, doesn't work anymore. I can't find the parts anymore. It's too cold in the winter. It's too hot when it gets hot. It doesn't work. If you talk to our HVAC and our electrician, you see the need immediately. We're maxed out in just about both of those areas. So the interior systems in the oldest part of our buildings from 1957 to 2022 is a long time to keep those taped together and pieced together. Our maintenance department does a great job, but there's only so much they can do with aging equipment. And you can't see them from this shot, but portables, the bad P word, they got them here too? Yes, we have many portables, and that's a stopgap measure when you have growth and you can't afford to build brick and mortar, we call it. But if you think about it, they're isolated from the original school. They may or may not have a restroom and a sink. They have an exterior door, and they become a permanent fixture. So it's time in Eastmont to get rid of our portables, and that's our commitment with this bond. And the same problems at Lee, and I know it sounds like a broken record, but unless a bunch of 4th graders have driver's licenses, you got a serious parking issue here. They're literally parking cars up against buildings, on dirt lots, wherever you can park a car, you park in a car. It's terrible drop off and pickup for the kids. Yes. All of that will be addressed if this passes. Yes, we'd love people to visit our schools for events, and right now, if you're here at the wrong time, you're stuck. The traffic circles the entire block and then some, and then very few parking spots. So as with our other schools, we'll have a separate bus loop and a separate parent pickup and drop off, and that should aid in physical safety and in the patience of our drivers, and even help our older neighbors who are tired of the congestion. It's always good to be a good neighbor, isn't it? It's very important for schools, yes. So to recap, as far as the elementary schools are concerned, Lee, they would get rid of all of the portables. They would make sure that there would be one central entry and exit way in and out of the campus. The same deal here with Cascade. Kenroy has some issues as well. Kenroy was only built in 1958, so it's only 64 years old. It's a 64-year-old school. Even though it's been modernized, it's old. With thousands of participants going in and out daily, thousands of users over that time, and Kenroy has very similar facility structure and quality as to the other 3 schools on the bond issue. So the elementary schools are really getting, if this passes, they're going to get a huge, much-needed modernization and facelift. Absolutely, and we will do it Eastmont style. We won't go over the top. We like to say we will not be building glass palaces. We'll be building very functional schools. I loved coming into our new cafeterias and seeing the good old linoleum floors that we had growing up instead of terrazzo marble or anything like that. So as we've been quoted saying in the paper, we're building Fords, not Ferraris, and we're very comfortable with that.
About 6-7 years ago, the Eastmont School Board had the forethought to realize that where the buses are located, and the maintenance vehicles too for that matter, doesn't work. They bought a lot. It's just sitting there. It's one thing to have an empty lot, but let's do something about the transportation hub, the transportation portal. The buses are just sitting there parked in this lot. It's not good. It needs upgrade.
Absolutely. So we have currently 43 buses. That doesn't include extra vehicles. And our transportation center was built for 18. So we have 18 parking spots, including bays. It's aging. We have no way to fuel on site, so we pay full retail when we go fuel at our local establishment. And it's just, it's not good. When drivers get back from a late night trip, we don't have proper lighting. When the mechanics are working on the buses, they don't have space for things. So I'll give a personal tour if anybody wants one. But what we're excited about is that with the last capital levy, we bought property off of Grant Avenue, where the white pumpkins are. We're leasing that to a farmer there, and we hope to relocate the transportation department up there. That will get rid of that early morning and afternoon congestion when we clog up all the streets going to get our kids and clog them up coming back. It would also give us a chance to continue our cooperative agreement with Entiat Palisades. Even Chelan sometimes drives their buses down, so our mechanics can do work on those buses. We'll have our own fuel station, and we're even going to plan ahead for electric vehicles. We don't know when the cost-benefit balance will be affordable for a school district, but we're going to think forwardly when we design that building.
So the infrastructure will be there when the time comes. You don't have to worry about doing it all over again.
That's what we're planning to do, yes.
And it should be pointed out here at Cascade and also at Lee Alabrina School, their attendant footprints are the two biggest in the school district. Some of these kids who come here to Cascade are bused from a long way away. And they spend a lot of time in a school bus. Might as well make it as cost affordable as possible.
As affordable as possible, and potentially electric vehicles at some point like Link Light Transit.
Let's talk big picture. Again, it's a $185 million bond. If it passes, it needs a 60% super majority. Becky cannot say vote yes. She cannot even say vote no. If she could, I'm pretty sure she'd say vote yes. I can say vote yes. Vote yes. Great, well put together, very informational website that's a link to the Eastmont School District website. And perhaps the most important tool for you property tax payers out there, there's a tool that you can use that calculates exactly what's going to happen to your property taxes if this passes.
There is a tool, and a quick note on that. School districts are a different taxing entity than some. So when the board says $185 million, we don't raise a dime more than that. We share it among the taxpayers. So if more taxpayers join, more properties are built, potential more server farms, data centers, they share in that cost. So our estimate is a little under $4 total, which is almost $1 less than in 2013, but we're very optimistic that each person's part of that tax pie will be reduced as we go forward. So I encourage them to use that tool. The tool is going to be worst case scenario.
And one of the scenarios that should be pointed out is that if it's as cheap as it's going to get. I mean, if it doesn't pass and you got to try it again in a few years, the cost of everything is going to go up.
I hate to say that because it sounds kind of coercive, but it's absolutely true. Building costs generally don't go down. The assessed valuation may hold flat instead of grow, but we've been told by experts anywhere between 10 and 30% a year. So on 18.5 million, that's 185 million is 18.5 million in 1 year, and we still have the same needs. The needs don't go away.
And one last thing, if this passes, and again, I can go on record and say I hope it does, you're not going to bite everything off in one shoot. This is a gradual step. Hey, we got the 185 million. We can begin our new process. So this is going to be a little bit at a time. The most critical problems are going to be addressed first, and then eventually you'll work your way up the ladder.
100%. Now we do have a pretty aggressive schedule because of the cost escalation. We don't want to have to pay more to get the same product by dragging that out. So we have a pretty aggressive schedule, but it's school by school by school, and we're excited about the challenge.
And one last little thing, there's the one thing that you always hear from people is that, well, I already did my part. My kids came, they went to Rock Island, and then they went to the middle school, and they went to the high school, and they graduated. Why should I care? I did my part. They should care. A healthy school district is a reflection of a healthy and happy community.
Really, and what our parents and grandparents paid forward for us, whether it's an aging part of this school, a newer part of this school, is really that civic spirit. People may decide to vote yes or may decide to vote no, but we're always thinking at least a generation ahead as we prepare kids for the future.
Dr. Becky Berg, the superintendent of the Eastmont School District. Again, I'm going to editorialize. Vote yes. There, I said it. And again, all the information, it's very important information. It's all at your fingertips. They have it all put together in one nice little page. There's a link to it on the Eastmont School District website. I'm glad you're liking your job. You don't have to do this. Why are you doing this? What's a good day for Becky? What do you do? You could be retired. You could be playing shuffleboard and going on cruises.
I'm far too young to be retired.
Why do you do this?
But I truly believe we change the world through our schools. And we make the world a better place. And we raise kids who realize their potential and can contribute to the world. So that gets me up every morning and then some. At the end of your typical 12-hour day here at the Eastmont School District, what's a good day for Dr. Berg when you go home? To relax and pack for the next University of Washington football game. I hope that doesn't make me lose votes.
Go Dogs. Dr. Becky Berg, thanks for taking time out of your busy day.
Thank you.
You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
I'm here at Boswell's Home Furnishings to announce one of their newest lines of furniture, Builtwell, an amazing local furniture maker in Oregon.
Hi, can I help you?
I was just telling my friends.
About Builtwell? They have exquisite craftsmanship, superior construction. I love their designs. Builtwell is a great addition to the wide selection of quality furniture you'll find here at Boswell's.
Boswell's Furniture on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
Mondays are happy hour all day long at Bob's Burgers and Brew in East Wenatchee. Great deals on appetizers, martinis, specialty drinks, wine, well drinks, and draft beers. Bob's Burgers and Brew in East Wenatchee. Come on in. They look forward to serving you.
Bob's Burgers and Brews in East Wenatchee. Come enjoy great food, great service, and a great time. Only the best for our guests. We look forward to serving you. Stop on by today.
Hi, my car's making a funny noise. Not a problem. We'll take care of you.
Global Car Care's technicians are ASE Master Techs and well versed in the more refined methods of vehicular diagnostics.
Number 3 piston and rings have a slight loss of compression, down to 108 pounds. Your transmission is slipping. You're gonna need a service.
Looks like you all set. These guys? They're good.
Oh, and your spare is flat.
Global Car Care, Wenatchee's top shop.
When the people you serve are your friends and family, you see the world a bit differently. You understand that your survival depends on the health and strength of your relationships. Your word is your reputation, and that doing the right thing is the only way of life that matters. At Confluence Health, we remain humble. Trust is a gift that is earned, a privilege, an honor. And we remain grateful for the trust you place in our hands.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be? And what would it be like? With today's home values, this is the perfect time to sell and make those dreams real. When you work with a world-class agent at Coldwell Banker, you benefit from trusted guidance and our revolutionary seller's assurance program to make your home sale more rewarding than ever. So it really is true. Your dreams don't have to be just dreams.
All right, getting ready to wrap it up here on this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is 45 degrees, but just a few high clouds. Next couple of days, really right through Thursday, not a lot to talk about except for this. It's going to be quite cold overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We're talking overnight lows in the valley, in the Wenatchee Valley, mid-20s. Mid-20s Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Not going to be that cold tonight, nor is it going to be that cold Thursday night into Friday. But that's the one day when we have this slow-moving air mass of very cold and dry air working its way down. That's the only real thing we're keeping a close eye on over the next 3 days or so. But then things really get crazy come Friday. So 51 today, which is a good 10 degrees cooler than what we were yesterday. But it's actually closer to normal. Our normal high this time of the year is 51. We hit 61 on Monday. It was mild. 35 for the overnight low tonight. A couple of degrees cooler with some sun breaks on Wednesday. Look at the overnight low Wednesday night, 25. That's going to be feeling downright balmy compared to next week. And on Friday night, we're looking at some snow in the mountain passes. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. Considerable rain for the Wenatchee Valley on Friday night And Saturday, there is a storm in them thar hills. That's it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.